AI didn't make me smarter, it made me faster, calmer, and way more strategic. And no, it didn't replace my job. It actually forced me to level up into it. My name is Angelina, I'm a data manager, and today I'm going to walk you through how I actually use AI in my real day-to-day work. This is not going to be the hype version or the AI is going to replace us all version. This is going to be a practical, boring, incredibly useful version. So if you manage people, work with data, sit between business and tech, then this video is for you. Let me start here because this matters. As a data manager, I don't write SQL all day. Or better put, I am not paid to write SQL all day. I can write SQL, but that's not the job. My job is translating business problems into technical solutions, managing people and priorities, making data architectural decisions, reducing risk, and sometimes explaining complex things to people who do not really care about complexities. So when AI showed up, I didn't think, great, now it writes my SQL. I thought, how can this thing help me think better, decide faster, and communicate clearer? So that's how I use AI. The number one way that I use AI is as a thinking partner. I'm not trying to replace my brain here, just as a thinking partner. I'll say things like, here's my team size, here's the data maturity, here's the compliance requirement, and here's the budget. What would you not build if you were me? That question alone has saved me from over-engineering more times than I can count. Sometimes AI agrees with me, sometimes AI challenges me, and sometimes it even exposes a blind spot that I didn't know I had. And I'll say that's the point. I'm not outsourcing my thinking. I'm just stress testing my thinking. So if you're using AI to say write this query, I would say you're using about 10% of its value. The second way that I use AI is translating business into tech. This one is where AI quietly becomes your best friend. Stakeholders do not speak technically, or let me simply put, they don't speak technical, they speak vibes. They'll say things like, can we just make it faster? Why can't we make it more flexible? Or why can't the data just match? So I'll take their raw, messy requirements and ask AI, rewrite this requirement into clear technical acceptance criteria. Or I could simply say, turn this into Jira tickets that my engineers won't hate me for. And suddenly, the scope is clearer, the assumptions are visible, and sometimes follow-up meetings even disappear. AI didn't replace communication skills, I'd say it's amplified them. I use AI for technical acceleration. Yes, I use AI for technical work, but let me be clear about how. I use AI to scaffold SQL patterns, brainstorm edge cases, generate data quality check ideas, and sometimes explain unfamiliar code faster. What I do not do is to blindly copy and paste into production. My rule is simple. AI writes the draft, but I have to own production. So if a query breaks, if compliance fails, or if the data is wrong, that is on me, not the prompt. So if you're new to AI and you're thinking, wow, this thing writes code so fast. Great, it does, but slow down and review the query or the code like a professional. AI made me a better manager. This is the part nobody really talks about, but honestly, I think it's one of the biggest wins. I constantly use AI for people management. Not to replace judgment or not to avoid hard or difficult conversations, but to show up better in them. I use it to draft performance feedback, prepare for difficult conversations, sometimes structure my one-on-one agendas. I have even used it to turn vague concerns into clear coaching. And I have even used it to check for biases in my own thinking. I'll say things like, help me give a feedback that is honest, kind, but still actionable. Or even I ask, what is the risk if I don't address this now? And here's the key part. I don't think it makes me less of a human, but rather I'd say it makes me more intentional. Instead of reacting emotionally or rushing the feedback or even avoiding the conversations altogether, I show up prepared, and I think my team feels safer and more supportive. So I'd say This is not AI replacing leadership, but rather AI removing friction so that leadership can actually happen. I use AI for executive communications. So if you're moving up your career or your role, here are some tips. Executives don't want technical details, your table schemas, I'd say long explanations of things. They usually want clarity. They want to know the risk. They want to know the decisions. So I use AI to translate technical implementations into executive language. So I'd say, rewrite this so that a VP can read this in 30 seconds. Or I can even say, can you highlight the risk, the decisions needed, or the recommended paths? And suddenly, the message is tighter, the risk is clearer, and the decision is obvious. So I'd say AI didn't eliminate leadership communication. I would say it rather trained me to do it better. I'm sure by now you're wondering, so what don't you use AI for? I don't use AI for final production deployments. I also don't use AI for any compliance-sensitive logic without validation. And finally, I would say I don't use AI for any security decisions without any human reviews. Because at the end of the day, AI is powerful, but governance is mandatory. So if you work with data and you're treating AI like magic, that is a problem. It's almost like there is a future incident report waiting to happen. Here is the truth most people miss. AI doesn't replace professionals, it exposes them. If your value is only execution, you will feel threatened. If your value is thinking, judgment, and I'd say leadership, then you will feel empowered. AI didn't replace my role. AI forced me to step fully into it. If you're a data professional, trying to stay relevant, grow into leadership, and actually use AI without burning out, hit subscribe. I'm sharing real workflows, real lessons, and leadership decisions from the data world. No hype, no fear mongering, just practical AI for real work. See you in the next one.